Hello, besties. It is me. It is Monty. I'm alive. And we are doing the reading today. Not this. I'm happy or excited. It has been over a year, around a year since I've done reading sprints. It's been a minute. It's been some time. It's been some time. Time has definitely passed since I have done a reading sprint for the people, even for the patrons. I haven't done reading sprints. Um it just has not been a priority of mine. So I'm happy to be here. I do have some reading that I need to get done. Am I going to read those things today? Probably not. Probably not. I'm probably going to read a Michael Connolly book, which I should not read. I should read. I should probably finish Swept Away by Beth O'Leary, but that book is annoying me at the moment. So I'm kind of avoiding it, even though I need to finish it by Sunday so I can finish this Patreon video. Or I should read the Annie Davenport Romantasy. But after reading their YA book, I'm really in no rush to read that Romantasy because I didn't like the YA book. Um, so, horrible things. Horrible things have been happening in the reading world. But I'm here, I'm alive. So we are going to, I think we're going to do our first sprint at around 10. I think I have like 10 minutes of talking in me while people file in and get acquainted to the fact that Monty is going live again. We are doing 45-minute reading sprints with our bestie, Miss Pomodoro Kitty. During the first sprint, I will definitely be listening to an audiobook, and then I might switch to reading physically the same book, my Michael Connolly. In the month of August, I went down a Lincoln Lawyer rabbit hole, and I read the entire Lincoln Lawyer series. And I have now decided that I am going to double back and read the Hieronymus Bosch books, which is a little bit more daunting because there's like 30 some odd Hieronymus books, and I think there was only 7 Lincoln Lawyer novels at the time that I decided to read them. Also, one moment. Yeah, it still looks messy, but it looks a little less messy. There were like 7 Lincoln Lawyer novels, so those were a lot easier to get through last month. The 8th book, I think it's the 8th book. I don't think it's the 9th one. Comes out in October, The Proving Ground. So I am looking forward to reading The Proving Ground. Other things have happened over the year. I did briefly consider doing the mid-year like check-in tag, and then I said, Monty, no, thank you. Monty does not actually want to do the mid-year check-in tag, and so I did not do that. But I have been reading. I've read 50 some odd books. My Goodreads is a little bit behind, but I've read around 50 books this year so far, which is not the world's most books, but I'm going to be happy with it considering considering the effort that reading has been this year. I'm going to be very happy with my little 50 books that I have read. Definitely could be a lot worse. Hello, Miss Erin. What are your errands that you're running? Are you getting dinner? Are you buying household supplies? Let us know. Like I said, we're doing our first sprinty sprint at 10 after the hour, so in about 6 minutes now. We'll do our first 45-minute read. I will be reading The Black Echo. I had originally started the audiobook, and then I didn't have access to it anymore, so I did go out and get the Titus Welliver edition since he is eventually going to take over reading the audiobooks. And so I thought I could just like skip to the point in the audiobook that I was when it was the old guy. But they didn't synchronize. So I just started The Black Echo over again, which is fine. Because the audiobook is also like, it's not separated by chapter. It was like part 1, part 2. And I was like, I'm not gonna scrub through part 2 to figure out where exactly I was. So I'll be reading The Black Echo, at least during the first sprint. I also need to get some clothes in the washing machine. I do a little of laundry. So that'll be what I am doing. Hello, Amanda. Welcome. Like I said, we have about 5 minutes until our first sprinty sprint. In a perfect world, we will do 4 sprints. It's kinda late, and it is a Wednesday, so who knows? Who knows if we will do 4 sprints? But in a perfect world, it would be 4. It might only wind up being 2 or 3, but an hour and a half of reading is still more than I would probably do at this time of night, considering the fact that I'm at home. That's the other thing. In 2025, Monty does not read at his house. Currently reading Memory, Sorrow, Thorn. That sounds bad. Let me look this up on Goodreads. Let me actually. Here's the tab with Pomodoro Kitty. Let's. The fuck? Why did we do that? It's because I started typing, isn't it? When we go on our break, I'm probably going to switch webcams. This does not surprise me. This does not surprise me at all, coming from the broke bucks. If anything, I'm surprised it was only Memory, Sorrow, Thorn. I'm surprised it was only 4 hours. Oh, is this a Tad Williams book? It's like the first thing that popped up. But that's a series. And not the name of a book. Anyway. Me just staring at Goodreads is probably not the most interesting content. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you had to go in on your day off, considering everything that we've heard about the broke books. If anything, it's more surprising it was only 4 hours. And not you had to go work another 13. Yeah, when I search this on Goodreads, it's like the only thing that pops up. So I guess it has to be this Tad Williams situation. Anyway, I had Best Buy, Target, the library, UPS. Oh, you're busy. And I thought we were saving. I thought we were in our saving, our financial. What's the word I'm looking? Our frugal era. This does not give frugal. The library gives frugal. UPS could be frugal because it could be like, what is that? It could be like a Pango drop off. So like that could be frugal. We could count that. But Best Buy ain't nothing frugal about going to Best Buy. At least when Monty goes. When Monty goes to Best Buy, I'm always like, okay, I'm getting this. Being at a Starbucks until 12:30 in the morning, it feels like several things have to have gone wrong. Feels like several things had to have gone wrong for this to be a situation that occurred. And I'm not surprised. Again, I'm not even surprised that it happened because because it's a store in your district, and your district is giving. Okay, and you have returns. I guess returns we can count that as frugality. I know it's crazy. I was remarking upon that at the onset of the sprints. We're on our minute warning. 1 minute till our first 45-minute sprint. But yeah, it's been at least a solid year since I hosted a reading sprint. And a year might even be stretching. It might be like closer to 2. I've gone live a couple of times for the patrons. I think I did a live react to the Goodreads Choice Awards last year. And I think there was like a list that circled around. I did a live talking about that. But yeah, most of my content. I don't even know what microphone is being used at this present moment, but I am in the bad place. Now I'm muted again. I don't. Oh, we're using them. I want this. Okay. thankfully, yes, but thankfully it is 10 o'clock. It's 10 after, so it's time for our bestie, Miss Pomodoro Kitty and Lilac. I don't know if lilac is the really the right term here, but I'm actually gonna be quiet now. We have 45 minutes. I'll see you back here 45 minutes from now. So stay safe, stay hydrated, and do some productivity. Welcome back, readers. That was not your cat, wasn't my cat. That was the timer going off. So, welcome. I did get my laundry in the washing machine. So, please hold your applause. I also continue to listen to The Black Echo, which I didn't really say what this was about before we did the sprinty sprint, but this is the first Hieronymus Bosch book, which is related to the Lincoln Lawyer series, also by Michael Connolly. And like I said, I read the Lincoln Lawyer books last month, and I think that even though they're not like one for one, like I think like they're just detective stories or like little law books at the end of the day, as I was reading the Lincoln Lawyer series, it didn't stop me, but I do think you probably would have a better experience if you read them in order because there were things about Hieronymus that were spoiled for me. They were spoiled for me because I read the Mickey Holler books, and so this is the very first one. And I think what really kills me is that in this book we find out that Mr. Hieronymus, he got his career started in Vietnam, like in the Vietnam War. And in the last book, which was set in like 2023, I think, so from the Vietnam War to 2023, they had Hieronymus Bosch running through the streets of Los Angeles, running up hills, running down hills, chasing after a rogue gunman. And to me, it was just so unserious that this, like, he has to be like ancient, but he can't, like, he has aged, like, even in the Lincoln Lawyer books, even in the Mickey Holler books, they don't focus on him. Like, you can clearly see that he is an older person, but it's like, so you got your start in Vietnam and now you're running through the streets of Los Angeles. Be so for real. But in this one, he is investigating the death of a body that was found stuffed in like a drainage pipe. And he discovers that he actually knew this person. And so this person, drugs, like it brings up some old feelings he has about his time in Vietnam. And it is also connected to a series of bank robberies and a series of what I'm looking for, bank robberies and other shenanigans. So I'm very much enjoying my time in the Michael Connolly universe. This is why I had to circle back around to it and read from the beginning. But let's say hello to people who joined us in that sprint. That was only the first sprint, so you haven't missed too much if you are just joining us. Welcome, hello, hey, old faces, new faces. I can't say that I have, but it's tried and true. Tried and true. Welcome back, Aaron. You made it to page 55. This is that sorrow, right? Memory, sorrow, thorn that you were reading. Is Aaron the only person that told us what they were reading? Let's see here. Yes, Memory, Sorrow, Thorn, and A Time of Dread. You got 45 pages into The Lovers by Rebecca Fabian. I gotta open up Goodreads for this because I have to admit that in the time that I have not been making public facing content, I have not really been paying attention to anything in the book world by Rebecca Fabian. This is an interesting cover. Very interesting art direction for this. Obviously, it has something to do with tarot. And I feel like they sort of leaned into this tarot idea, but not enough. So, it's a second chance romance? Or is it just two people who are, let's see here, unfortunately, most recent breakup, offered a gig, Joshua Tree. Those are, I guess those are Joshua Trees in the background. I feel like they're giving more. What was in the Lorax is giving more Lorax than a Joshua Tree. But I digress. She's their agency's wedding planner. Okay, it doesn't seem like it's actually second chance romance. It's just a second chance at love. Worked on A Time of Dread during that sprint. Almost done with The Babysitter Lives by Stephen Graham Jones, and The Hounding is up next. What is The Hounding? That's also giving horror vibes. The Hounding, maybe not. This cover that I see on Goodreads is not really, well, it's being shelved by people in horror. The Crucible meets The Virgin Suicide. You do kind of lose me at The Crucible, not gonna lie. But I hope that The Hounding is very good. I have not read it, so I have no thoughts, no opinions. Reading a pretty old book called The Blue Hour by Laura Pritchett. If you open up on newer releases, you're reading some has been awful this year. That's really sad to see. Now, what is this? The Blue Hour. I have been reading a number of new releases, mainly because I am still a person who loves to find out things. Oh, let me make sure that I clicked. Okay, good. The kitty's not going to interrupt me. I still, in my core, I still like to read and find out. So I have read some new releases this year. I started the year off with The Favorites. That was new at the time that I read it. It was really good. I enjoyed that. I've since learned that it's like a Wuthering Heights retelling or like inspired by. And so it doesn't make me want to read Wuthering Heights, but I thought that was a fun little factoid about that book. That was a good one. But then I read some really not good ones. I read that Shield of Sparrows book. Not good. Not good at all. I also read Silver Elite by Danny Francis, and I saw that the girlies were not enjoying Silver Elite, but Monty did. I know not everyone follows me on Goodreads, but Monty did enjoy Silver Elite. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I definitely had a good time with Silver Elite. I read Catabasis recently, or what is it? Catabasis is the how some people are saying it. And I had a fun time with Catabasis as a literary fiction, not fiction, like a literary fantasy. I thought it was pretty lackluster, but as a romance, as a quirky, fun romp with a love story attached, I had a good time with Catabasis. So the bad. Oh, I also read. Oh, that wasn't a new release though. I read some. I think it was like The Crown of Ivy and Curses. It was some green, but it was so bad. It was so. I don't think I have ever suffered the way that I was suffering. Take it back. Reading that book in some ways reminded me of those Stephanie Garber books that I read. The Once Upon a Broken Dream. I think that was the series, the spinoff series to the Carve, whatever that was. That and the Once Upon a Ivy Curses. So, speaking of told your ass, I also read some Raggedy Library book. So bad. That book was the Library of the Forgotten Library, the book that wouldn't burn. The book that wouldn't burn should be burned. That's not a new release though. That's a older title. I think it's like what, like 4 years old at this point. There is a romance that's coming out soon. Let me pull it up on Goodreads for you guys because it is so good. And I almost didn't even read it. Actually, I need to open my NetGalley because I've forgotten the name of this book, to be honest with you. My Shelf. I almost didn't read it because I was like, this sounds like a man. I almost didn't read it. And let's see here. It is not If It Makes You Happy. It is called, let me just remove Miss Kitty. And we are going to share a different screen so I can, this book right here. This book right here is different this time. Great romance. It is out at the end of the month. And it's some of my least favorite things. It is Second Chance. It's straight people. I mean, I guess in theory they could be queer. They could be like bi for bi or something. I don't know if that's like in the text. I don't remember that specifically. But it's like uh I don't think is it dual time? It's been so long because I read this book, you guys. And I read it in like one sitting because I just couldn't put it down. It was so good. It was really good. I still need to review it. Um it was a really good romance. And then I also do think that Catapus is a romance. I know that it's not. I understand that I made a TikTok, which I shouldn't be on TikTok. I need to get off that app. But I made a TikTok talking about how the girlies that initially is an Instagram story, and then I put the Instagram story on TikTok. But I made a little story saying that it was deeply unserious for the girlies to tell me that I needed to read, Ovid, and I need to crack open some Young and dust off my knowledge of Dante's Inferno and read the Aeneid and maybe pick up some Proust or some shit so I could read and understand everything that Catabasis had to offer because they were just so they were so smart and so intelligent. And then I was reading the book and it didn't require none of that. It didn't it didn't require a single piece of outside information for me to be able to read and understand that book and have a good time engaging with the themes and messages that R.F. Kuang was pulling up. But also, even if I set that aside, the book at the end of the day is just a love story between Alice and what's his name. And so I had a silly fun time with Alice and what's his name? Was it Peter? Yeah, it was Alice and Peter. And so I was like, yeah, like it wasn't that. And so then this person wanted to come back at me like it's not even a love story. It's not that at all. Like, how dare you? You're just stupid. And I said, well, we very clearly didn't read the same book because it very clearly is, and it ends with a happily ever after. Like it ends with the happy for now. Like it, as much as Rebecca is at these book talks talking about how she wouldn't market it as a romance, but it has some of these old school romance tropes in it. It has the tropes and it has a happy ending. Like I don't know, like speaking of horrid books, this is while I still have Goodreads up. Speaking of new release romances that you guys do not need to read, I just finished. This actually hurts my soul a little bit. I do live. I am alive and well. Speaking of bad books, I want none of you guys reading that is a romance. Don't read this book. Do not read Honey and Spice 2. This book ruined my entire September. I started it last month and I got annoyed. I was like, I can't do this. And that's when I really went into Michael Connelly for the first time. But in September, I said, okay, I got to finish it because I've been looking forward to this book for what feels like 10 years of my life. And this book is so bad. So bad. Like, I didn't think that books could be this bad. And yet somehow it found new inventive ways to be bad. Maybe I say that I don't like second chance romances, but that last book I just told you guys to go read by Josh Richards, that was a second chance and it was good. It was really good. And I read last year, was it last year? It had to have been last year. I'm back. Yeah, it had to have been last year. I read the um hello. Oh, hello. Okay. Yeah. I really it's hard. It's really hard for me to we're not doing that angle. So we're just gonna one moment here. Do I have oh yes. There we go. What's going on is this little dongle is being annoying and the webcam is being annoying and the universe is against me. I too don't necessarily love second chance romances, but for Sweet Heat specifically, which we can pull it back up while I drag it. What bothered me, I guess we could do that's better a little bit. What bothered me specifically about this book, which let's just get the cover. That's all we need. Which is a nice cover. It doesn't match anything. Doesn't match the first book, either cover that they put out for it. Um, this is a mood. Uh, um, this book, oh, it's a second chance romance. And when I found out why these people broke up, I said, "Oh yeah, we don't need to get back together. We don't need to get back together." And for what really killed me is they're supposed to be older in this book. The first book they're in college, and this book is their post college hijinks and adventures. And their best friends are getting married, which is why they're coming back together. And then they start working together on this like side project. And so it's a lot of them working together. Ample opportunity for them to communicate, for us to see them engaging with one another in a mature way. And that just doesn't happen. And so it's kind of like you're not engaging with one another in a mature way. You're not working through your issues. We don't really find out what the problem between these two people even is, like why they broke up, until I want to say like 70 some odd percent, maybe even 80% of the way through the at least of the arc version. In theory, the final version could be different. But when I was reading that chapter of seeing them like break up and the fight that they had, I was like, oh, so why are we getting back together? Why are we like what are we even doing here? Like there was no point for it. So it really did hurt my soul because I was so looking forward to this book. And I just really truly cannot recommend you guys go pick this up. Can't recommend it from the library. Maybe I mean I guess libraries are free. But we have so little time on this earth. I don't know if you need to spend it with this book. And what really to me, I could have been like, okay, maybe it's just not for Monty. But then I read the acknowledgments, and I want to say before we even get to, I want to thank my agent, thank my editor, thank my best friends for holding me down. It's like a defense of the book. It's a defense of, oh, this book took me so long to write. It was so hard to get to the characters and to tell their story and be honest and get to a really true space. And I'm just like, if you're doing all this in the acknowledgments, then yeah, the book was bad. The book was bad. I didn't imagine it. I'm not the only person that had a bad time. Someone else told you that they were having a bad time, and here you are to defend it. And I don't feel like the acknowledgments is the space for in a book for you to be like, let me defend the choices I made as the author. Like, just I'm more respected. Like I have more respect for the authors that put out bad books, and it's just like that's the book I wrote. Than for whatever Bolu was doing in those acknowledgments. Hello, Jenny. Welcome. Welcome to our sprints. We have been yapping for a little bit here. It is 15 after now, just about. So at 20 after, in about 5 more minutes, we'll do our next sprint. I think I'm going to continue on with the Black Echo because there's still some more cleaning I need to do, sadly. So I need to have an audiobook going. And then we might actually be ready to switch my laundry over. So hopefully I can get that in the dryer and it can be drying during the sprinty sprints. I'm very clearly not going to finish this book today because this book is almost 500 pages. It is actually over 500 pages. It's 508. But I should be able to make a nice little dent in it. Don't do it. I think that in some ways, I almost like a second chance when I don't know I'm getting a second chance, even though that could also be dangerous. It could be dangerous. I think I said I wanted to do at least 4 sprints. That was ambitious of me to come back and do 4 sprints. But what time is it now? It is only 6:15. We'll end the second sprint at about 7 o'clock ish, like a little after 7 o'clock. So at least yeah, I think I might be able to get to my 4. It's a Wednesday, it's a weekday. I'm not trying to keep you up all hours of the night. So if you got to go, please go. These The replay will be live. I'm not, privating or unlisting the video or anything. So it'll be here for people when they get back. But I do have to work tomorrow. I do want to keep that in mind. I do have to go to work tomorrow. So I will not be here, to the wee hours in the morning, but at least a little bit longer. Your dryer finally got fixed. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. I had a broken dryer. Maybe it was in 20. I think it was like a year and a half ago. It was not a fun time. And even before then, like when I first moved into the apartment, it wasn't really the world's best dryer. I was just like, I didn't pay for this dryer. I didn't buy this dryer. It came with the unit. So I'm just gonna be happy that there's a dryer here. But it was always like, oh, you gotta run clothes for forever and a day to get them dry. And so now there's like a shiny new dryer. I don't have to do all that, and it makes me very happy. I'm very happy that I don't have to wait 3 days, or it felt like I was waiting 3 days to get dry clothes before. Now just one regular cycle. So shout out to the dryer people, the dryer manufacturers of the world. They have clearly improved this. I haven't been to a laundromat since I was a child, and I don't think you could pay me to go back now. Partially because I can think of 2 laundromats in town, so I do know they exist here. I do know that they are ready and like there, but I don't know how they operate anymore. And I'm not a cash person, so that also does make me I won't say nervous. Nervous is not the right word, but it would bother me to have to like go somewhere to get cash specifically to then go somewhere else to get quarters. To like go to the whole at that point I would just I don't know, I would be washing clothes in my bathtub and hanging them off the That's what I thought. But again, you live in the happening places to be. I live in the middle of nowhere. So in my head, even though I never stepped foot in one these days, again, you city folk, I live in the middle of nowhere. So I like to think that in my little middle of nowhere, maybe I'll pop in one of these days in my copious free time. Just and do a lay of the land. Sure it is. You live in the hubbub. Okay. Okay. Again, I'll have to pop into my local laundromats and see what's happening. If they have caught on to the use a laundry and pickup delivery service. That sounds fancy. That sounds a little too fancy. The laundromat is that's what it sounds like. But I do have to say that I appreciate the idea of a laundry card more than quarters. Because again, I don't do cash. I don't do cash. To me, cash is for drug deals. Like you should only have cash if you are going to see the man at the corner. Like why else are we walking around cash? You could take it back. It's for drug dealers and for people who are over the age of 40. And even 40 is a little bit young to be walking around with cash, but you grew up in a different era. I will allow you to have your cash, but it's just so dirty. It's just so dirty to me. That's But I do have to say, even though I don't use it. But I can kind of see how that would be like. I don't know if the word is bothersome. I can see how the card would be a little bit unserious. It's not. That is what it is there for. Yes, that's nice. You get to have a separated thing for it. Exactly. Exactly. You went to a brunch spot in Philly that only took cash. I don't know if I could do that. Listen, more power to y'all if you carry the cash. It's not my ministry. I mean, I don't care. But I have if my world was pay for the laundry service or have a broken dryer, I would probably do the laundry service. I'm sure they do. Again, more power to the all cash establishments. I just won't be a patron. I just won't be a patron. But It is 20 after the hour, and I said we would do our sprinty sprint. So of let me change back to Miss Pomodoro Kitty, our best friend. She gonna keep us on track, and I will see you guys back here in 45 minutes. Welcome back, readers. Again, that was not your cat, it was my cat. That was the timer letting you know that the sprint was over. Please bear with me as I attempt for the 1 millionth time to get a camera to cooperate. Come on. Why are you? But during that sprint I read again, it was not 100 pages of The Black Echo by Michael Connelly, but it was pretty close, to be honest with you. Kind of surprised. Should I be surprised if I'm listening at like 3 times speed? Probably not. My clothes were not done when I checked on them the first. Okay, Siri. No one's trying to do all that. But my clothes were not done when I checked on them. They were still in the middle of the wash cycle. So during this next sprint, I will check on them again, and I would assume that an hour and a half after that they will be done. So that is going to be like I said, my assumption. Not watching Scandal. I have not tuned into Scandal in quite a while. Not I always told myself I was gonna watch The West Wing at some point, and I have yet to do that. So maybe one day I will watch it, but I can't say that it's really the further we get from the early 2000s, the more it's like, do I really need to tune into the West Wing? It's gonna have to keep killing you because for whatever reason, uh, yeah, we're not doing that angle. It's just not. I'm not doing that. That's one thing Monty is not doing. So maybe if I restart my computer, not my computer, my phone. Let me do that. Um, you got further into Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle. It's an interesting plot, but the writing leaves a lot to be desired. Also, let me mute the Discord. I don't know why I didn't do that before. Mute server. You're watching Scandal, got to not this. I will say, what was it? I never felt that way about Scandal, but I had to stop watching How to Get Away with Murder. Well, to be honest with you, I stopped watching because the person who I thought was responsible for everything and was ruining everybody's lives, they died. So I was like, y'all could be free. Y'all are y'all are free to like go on and live your best lives. And then they didn't do that. They did not go live their best lives. They continued to be dismissed. They continue to be pathetic. And so it was just kind of like, if y'all don't want better for yourselves, there ain't nothing I can do for you. Um, so I want better for you, but you don't want better for you. So what am I supposed to do here? Let me I wonder if it hmm, I wonder if it's that. It shouldn't be that. But anyway, so yeah, I had to stop watching How to Get Away with Murder. Ooh. I was in too deep with Scandal to stop. I was in too deep. They weren't getting me to stop watching. Um yeah, it was not gonna it was not going to happen for me to stop watching. I wonder if only my computer wants me to open this app, but if I open that, it will connect. Now, if you're connected there, are you gonna show up over here? Of course, you're not gonna show up over here. That is so crazy. That's what I get for listening to this book on my phone. But again, you would think at this point, I'm blaming StreamYard. That's what I want to do. We can stop sharing the Pomo Kitty. Um, that's what I want to do. Even though I'm sure it's actually the fault of this raggedy webcam. It wouldn't be a Monty stream if I wasn't having technical difficulties. Um, you watch the first season of Scandal. I feel like that's still like a. I will say this. I think that the first 6 episodes, when it was just a mid-season replacement show, were probably some of the better is not the right word, but it was a better show then. And even season 2, when it was continuing on from being a mid-season replacement, really solid. It was like, okay, we're doing something here. But then, like after that, I will say that it's a very different it's a very different show after that. It's kind of how I feel about talk about a completely different kind of program. It's really kind of how I feel about Glee. Like the first 2 seasons of Glee, great. Season 3, watchable. Seasons 4 and 5, Monty was gone. Monty was gone. Couldn't pay me to watch it. Sorry. But then I did come back for season 6, and season 6 was a really good season of Glee. And I feel like Scandal is very much the same way. Seasons 1 and 2, great. Great, great, great. There's some moments in the middle there for 3, 4, 5. Fun time. I think this Scandal, did it go for 7 seasons? But that last season of Scandal was also really good. I think their messiness of the weak plot lines were too good for how completely they ditched them. That's valid. I also just think that, like, obviously, by the nature of the show, like in the setting, okay, we're doing politics. Here's the thing. I don't trust Shonda Rhimes, and so her central couples are never people that I care about. So I do not like her and Fitz. Her and Fitz to me is a crazy coupling, and I think this is an unpopular Grey's Anatomy opinion, but I could not stand Derek Shepherd. I loathed that man so, so much. And I do think that he single-handedly ruined Meredith Grey's entire life. And so, um, and with her and Fitz, it was even worse because it was really giving. It was giving. I can't really say what it was giving. I can't say what it's giving, but it was just like, why do you want this relationship? To put it nicely, I guess. To put it nicely, I was like, why do you want to be in this relationship with this man? This man who doesn't even care about you, who doesn't like you, he just wants to possess you. Like he doesn't want to be with you. He wants to possess. It was weird. It also fits. I thought was just for a person who, spoiler alert, was people were rigging elections for. He was just like when Melly was yelling at him and putting him in his place, and it's just like people literally rigged elections for you. Like talked about hashtag rigged, hashtag fix, hashtag like people are bending over backwards to put you in the presidency, and you were so willing to just be like, bye, sir, go away. And it's not even that I don't think like in retrospect, like I don't even care about Jake much more. Like I could take him or leave him, but at least he wasn't Fitz. So I was definitely team Jake. When the dad came into the scene for Scandal, we had the secret agent plots. I was like, "What's that?" Yeah?" It was a lot. Like the whole B613 situation was it was a lot, and I don't know if I needed a lot of it. Particularly, I don't know if I needed Huck was B613. Then when Quinn became B613, I was like, "What are we doing here?" And then when she was dating that one man and they were having a baby, it was a lot. It was a lot of B613 love triangle situation that nobody asked for. Like, who asked for Huck to be in a love triangle with Quinn? No. No, no, no. I hate him so much. I hate him so much. I hate him so like, he just rubbed my spirit the wrong way every time. He deserved to have his wife cheat on him with his best friend. He deserved that. Like, he deserved to walk in on Mark, Sloan, cracking Addison like a glow stick. He deserved that. He earned that entirely. He just did. Like, I'm sorry. People talk about how Karev is a horrible person. Derek Shepard, horrible person. Um, in a battle of who is worse, Derek Shepard or Fitzgerald Grant the third, I would probably actually put my money on Derek Shepard. I would put my money on Derek Shepard because here's the thing. I think in a neutral in a perfect world, Fitzgerald Grant the third, yes, he's mediocre. People are bending over backwards to scam their like his way into the presidency. And then he like exists in his post presidential status, like thinking he's gonna go like live somewhere and like work at a farmer's market. But Derek Shepard, like, if you don't run him over with your car, like, he is just gonna keep going. Like, he is not gonna go off quietly into that good night and at least pretend to like live some um quiet existence. Derek Shepard would have been 95 years old, continuing to think that he was God's gift to humanity. And so I think that Derek Shepard is actually a worse person. Because I think that at least Fitzgerald Grant, he knows how to shut the fuck up. Derek Shepard don't know how to do that. Derek Shepard ain't shut up a day in his life. Once they got together for real, all her scenes, yes, it was so weird. No, didn't like it. Di- didn't like it at all. Yes, I could have supported that too. I could have done that. Thank They still do. They still do. Sometimes when I'm on TikTok and I shouldn't be on TikTok, I'll get scenes from Scandal. So I have to like stop watching at 2 times speed and like watch the scene in its natural rhythm. And it's like they really wanted him to like be something. And no, this is the other thing. Like I hate Fitzgerald Grant the third so much that I can't even stand Tony Goldwyn. Tony Goldwyn just be popping up all over the place, and every time he pops up, I'd be so annoyed with him. I had already watched Scandal and I hated his character. And so then I started watching The Good Wife, which was horrible for me because The Good Wife became one of those shows that I could just rewatch and say like I could go seasons 1 to I think it's 8 seasons. I could go 1 to 8 and then turn it back on to season 1 and start all over again. And he pops up. He's like a guest judge in like season 3 of that show or something. And I was like, yeah, you're a scammer. Like you're a horrible person. He's supposed to be giving off bad vibes. I don't think he's actually supposed to be crooked in that episode, but maybe he is. I forget. But even before I saw the episode for the first time, I was like, yeah, he's a bad guy. He's a crooked judge. He's getting payola. Like it's just he has bad energy. And so Tony Goldwyn, I can't watch him. When he be popping up on the red carpet and he and Carrie be acting weird, I'm like, you have bad energy, sir. I need someone to sage you. If it was a Millie's face telling her exactly. Exactly. Like yeah, he was just a horrible person. He was a horrible person to everybody. Like there's no redeeming quality to him, but not only did he think he was like the greatest person, he didn't want to take no like criticisms. I also appreciated when Sally Langston came in and we started reading him for Phil talking about you're a whore, you're an adulterous whore, and I have to stand by at the Naval Observatory with you running around leading our country like a whore. And I'm just like Sally, I don't know if you need to do all of this because she was Miss MAGA before Miss MAGA became everything. But everyone's reading that man for. I think didn't she also get killed? Didn't she taken out? And then they have that new vice president for his second run when she was off doing the Liberty Report. Anyway, it's just like he can't be the greatest, but he couldn't even get himself elected the first time. Like that was the whole plot of the first season was we had to scam him. I guess technically, Melly couldn't get herself elected either. They just scam her way up into the presidency too. But it's all too much. It's all too much. The whole show Too much was always happening on that program. But it was not the weak link of that Thursday night programming. We'll never get back to that. We'll never get back to, Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, and Grey all airing back to back to back. That was an era of television that was it'll never be it'll never also, I said this, I think it was yesterday, or it might have been a couple days ago. It might have been probably on Sunday, because that's when the Emmys were airing, and we were talking about, I think, what's his name? Trammell, that's not his name. Mr. Tillman, is it Tillman? The man from Severance won an Emmy. And I was saying that I don't really know if Viola needed an Emmy for what she was doing in How to Get Away with Murder, but they were just throwing Emmys at people, I guess. To me, it's very similar to how, like, they gave Katherine Heigl an Emmy back in the day, and it's just like, wow, they be giving Emmys to anybody. Just like, I think they also gave Juliana Margulies an Emmy for her turn on The Good Wife in one of those seasons, and it was good. Like, it was fine programming, but it's just like, damn, they just be giving Emmys to anybody. Anybody can get. Although I say that, and they definitely gave the morning show a couple Emmys, and ain't no one on that show need an Emmy. I think Billy Crudup specifically, he ain't never needed an Emmy. She didn't. Viola is a great actress, but she ain't do nothing on How to Get Away with Murder to earn an Emmy. I'm sorry. Ain't nothing on that show to earn it. Ain't nothing on that show Emmy worthy. Sorry, Shonda. Like, you make television that people want to watch, which is important to do. But she ain't writing Emmy winning. She ain't writing Emmy winning television. Although I say that, and they were running around giving the Bear all the Emmys. They were like throwing Emmys at that show. And as a person who it was like pulling teeth for me to finish that first season when everyone was like falling over themselves, talking about it's so good, it's so great, it's so accurate. Here's how I know that this is in the before times. I attempted to give the show grace, because while I do work in the restaurant industry, I never worked in a restaurant setting, right? I now work in a restaurant setting, and there ain't no way you have 3 fucking dishwashers standing in the back of every episode, twiddling their thumbs, not doing the goddamn thing ever. I could be buried to my eyeballs in dishes, and I will be the only dishwasher there. So the fact that the Bear has 3 bitches just standing in the back doing not a damn thing in their little dish pit, that's how I know the show ain't real. I'm sorry. They ain't never set foot in a fucking restaurant. You think you can have 3 people standing in the back twiddling their thumbs? Crazy. Now, I can't say that Jeremy don't deserve their Emmys, because I think the entire cast of Shameless was routinely snubbed, except for, what was it, William H. Macy. He got nominated a lot. And I think they finally threw Emmy a bone at some point, but she ain't earned none of it. Everyone on that cast deserved an Emmy at some point. The show deserved an Emmy at some point. So I will allow Jeremy Allen White to have 1 Emmy. But his whole collection, the collection is outrageous. The collection is outrageous. But I'll allow him 1 because it should have gone to his work on Shameless. Ooh. Okay. I have not watched The Pit. I want to, but I have not watched The Pit. I think of the Shondaland TM shows, it definitely has the best writer's room. It does have the best writer's room. At least up until the plane crash. Maybe up until the plane crash. But here's the other thing. I can't stand what's his name? Jeffrey Morgan. Mr. Denny Duquette. And I think that's why they gave Katherine Heigl her Emmy, was for the Denny Duquette arc situation and the follow-up from the Denny Duquette arc. I can't stand that man. He's the original Tony Goldwyn. Anytime he pops up and shit, I'm like, oh, let me change the channel. Can't stand him. So maybe that's why I don't really care what Katherine was doing in those episodes. I don't think Katherine Heigl earned an Emmy, but there are definitely other people on that show. I think that. Would I have given Ellen Pompeo an Emmy for anything? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, a nomination or 2. Probably would have given Sandra Oh an Emmy at some point, but I think Katrina was an interesting character. Monty used to watch 911. Monty used to watch 911. Monty used to be on Tumblr. That's well, just technically Monty still has a Tumblr account. I didn't delete it. And Tumblr had convinced me that there were gay firefighters on this show in season 2. So I said, let me go and watch 911 for these little gay firefighters because I like a firefighter. And so I watched the whole first season, and we gonna get there. So I watched the first season and I said, oh, there's no gay firefighter. Okay, so he must appear in season 2. So then I get to season 2 and I said, oh, that's a straight man. Okay, but I see the vision. I see the vision. Let me be delusional with the people. So then I watched season 3 in real time, and I watched season 4 in real time, and I watched season 5 in real time. And now I've watched 5 seasons of a show where I went in thinking there were gay firefighters. Mind you, there have been lesbian firefighters. Well, firefighter. There's been a lesbian firefighter this whole time, but she don't get no shine. Ain't no one caring about him. That's crazy to me. So I'm watching. I'm like, okay, so there's a lesbian firefighter, but the gays that y'all told me about weren't here. Y'all just made that shit up in your heads. Okay. But then we were in COVID. And I think that COVID really broke these people's brains because I was watching the show in real time. I would go to work, I would come home on Monday nights, and I would watch the show in real time, and I would post about it on Tumblr in real time, like full on reaction. It was a crazy time to be alive. I was watching the show and I was having an interesting reaction because one of the allegedly gay, I guess now he's come out as bisexual on the show, but I've given up. I gave up on the show because I saw the people being crazy. So I was watching the show, and Buck was dating a character on the show named Taylor. And Taylor had been in a season 2 episode, and they decided they hated this character named Taylor because she was a horrible, horrible person who didn't deserve anything good to happen to her. Even though she came back, she was in 2 episodes in that season. In the first episode, they kind of ended up like whatever. It was clear that Buck had a crush on her, but it didn't go anywhere. Then she appeared later on in the season, and it had been very clear that none of the characters in the firehouse had any resentment to this character for anything that she did or did not do when she appeared the first time. But the fans of this show are just convinced that Taylor Kelly was the demon spawned from hell sent to ruin everything. So she comes back in season 4 and they're locked down in COVID. They can't do anything. They can't bring on any like there's no real guests. There's no really big disasters happening because it's a fucking pandemic. People are dying. Okay. Cast members are being let go because they refuse to get vaccinated. Shit is happening on the show. Ryan Guzman, Mr. Eddie Diaz is running around Instagram defending. I think they're back together now, but at the time he was married to this woman and she was rapping the N-word. Mind you, she's a whole white lady rapping the N-word, and Ryan Guzman is a Mexican man from Los Angeles. So I understand while Mr. Guzman should not be out here saying the N-word. As a Mexican person living in Los Angeles, I'm not surprised that the N-word is in this man's vocabulary. So I'm not gagged that he is saying it or that he's defending his white wife saying this. I'm just like, he's running around doing that. Let's have a conversation about how this pretend gay firefighter that y'all want to be, it was a whole straight character, being a woman on the show. His first wife is murdered, just straight assassinated in like season 2 for no reason. Just kill her. But we can't talk about that behavior, or we can't even talk about the cast member got let go because they wouldn't get fucking vaccinated. Meanwhile, like we're in the middle of like 700 people are dead. Okay, 700,000 people are actively dying, bodies in the ground, and this man don't want to get vaccinated. Crazy. We're not even talking about him. We're talking about Taylor Kelly, a fake character, like an imaginary person. And every time the 911 Instagram would post her, or they would post on Facebook, the people who are watching the show are just flooding the comments, attacking poor Megan West. Like it's her biggest break. It's the biggest high profile thing she's ever been on, and it's a raggedy procedural on fucking ABC. Oh, at the time it was on Fox. just going in on this poor random woman for having the audacity to be an actor on their show where they want the gay firefighters to be together. And what really, yes, yeah, I Aiden is always at the scene of the crime, and I am just silently watching. So they're attacking poor Megan West and Taylor Kelly. And then in season 5, after teasing her at the end of season 4 again, still in the middle of the pandemic, they bring her on as a full-time character. And now they've lost their minds. They're lost their minds. I think at this point, Ryan Guzman is like doing conversion therapy or some shit. I don't know. He's always in the middle of some mess on fucking Instagram. That's why he don't post. But he's out here doing some shit. I think at this time he was actually separating from his wife. I think again, like I said, I think they're back together now. So he's like going to his he's past the inward drama, he's into separation drama, and they are still mad that this character who has been around now for a season and a half is still dating their little gay firefighter, and they are still dragging this poor woman. Again, they are leading this woman on thinking she's gonna have something really big to do. And then what really kills me, they have Buck cheat on this poor girl. They have Buck cheat on this random girl with this new cast member they brought in specifically for this cheating storyline that goes nowhere. They do this whole cheating storyline, and then they go on their winter break. So they break for the winter. They come back in January, and they have Buck break up with Taylor because Taylor did something so horrible that he can't forgive her for, which was do her job. She's a reporter, and she was reporting the news. And Buck was like, "How dare you report the news? I can't be with you anymore." Mind you, he was balls deep in some other random person 2 episodes ago. And she was like, "Well, I guess I can take you back because even though you were balls deep in somebody, I can I know that didn't mean anything." Crazy. And now I guess they finally had this man come out as bisexual, and the people are still trying to get him with Ryan Guzman's character Eddie, and I can't take any of it seriously because now I think he's out here liking Charlie Kirk posts and talking about again conversion therapy, and it's like, why do you want this homophobic man to be the gay firefighter? Like, what also kills me is while all this is happening, they had time to like spin off an entirely new show, 911 Lone Star, where they actually had queer people on the show. They had a gay man, they had a trans man, they had a bisexual character over there. They were doing all kinds of weirdness, and I couldn't watch it because I tried. And the man they had in the interracial relationship with that black lady, China Ann's sister, it was giving weird in the pilot. So I said I can't watch this. I'm sorry. Maybe he's a good person eventually in this show, but I never got to it. But they did whole 5 seasons with that little rainbow coalition of people, and they were still over here clamoring for Eddie and Buck to be together, even though at every turn Ryan Guzman is a worse person than he was the season before, and somehow he's still employed. It's crazy to me. But at this point, they've killed Bobby. I guess they killed off Angela's husband. So I don't know why the show's still going. To be honest with you, I don't know anybody who was watching that show in season 1 that's still having a good time with it now. I'm thinking like season 8 is about to drop. They got Nashville about to happen. Nobody wants 911 Nashville, but they're still chugging along. Yes, they did. Listen, it's a crazy time over there on that cast. I can't imagine that they also this is the other thing. The people who watch the show are also a little bit too invested in that cast, and I just wanted to watch the show. Like I didn't need to know about Ryan Guzman's marital problems or his wife saying the N-word or again the conversion therapy. But I can just watch the show and keep it pushing. But when you were watching the show, they would spend all their time talking about these people and their dramas and who was following who and who wasn't following somebody. And the people who watch it, I think, are weird. I think they have a little bit too much time to be in people's comment sections. They ran Oliver Stark off of Twitter. Like, you wanted this man to respond to you so much, you ran this man off of Twitter. I mean, everyone's off of Twitter now, but they were running people off the Twitter before then. Like, when people were still actively on that site. Oh yes, It really is. It really is. Thankfully, I did avoid the super hulock because I was not a super hulock girly. But it is definitely a lot of it is it's very much Teen Wolf. It's very much the Steric shippers that grew up and now they're buddy shippers. And I don't ship either. I started shipping Buddy, but then again, like when you're watching the show, like yes, they have, those characters have an interesting dynamic, and it's a little bit more interesting, I guess, than Steric ever was. But it's like these people actually have relationships with other people that we could really be invested in, you guys. Like the narrative is giving us things to be invested in. Teen Wolf was giving nobody nothing to be invested in. Like, how you invested in Derek Hale watching Teen Wolf? Like, there's nothing for you to be invested in. I did watch. And I did not miss Lisa Barlow. My girl Mary Cosby was front and center as she should be. She was giving the girlies one-liner. She was whacking Brittany as she deserves to be whacked. I think that some producer is telling Brittany that her bringing up Jared Osmond is like really good for her, or she thinks, I don't even know what she thinks when she's bringing up Jared Osmond, but it's just like at this point, it feels calculated. In the first, like last season, it didn't feel calculated, but this season, it's like you've seen the reaction and you understand how this comes off. And we're running the same playbook. Why are we still talking about Jared Osmond? Nobody cares about Jared Osmond. Like, I find it really hard to believe that even though, who was it? Heather Gay told us that the Mormons really love Jared Osmond. I don't think the Mormons care about Jared Osmond enough for him to be for him to be brought up as often as he is. And I also just think that I don't want to say it's pathetic, but I think it's really sad to be like, oh, I'm making an announcement, we're engaged. And then you talk like, oh, actually, we're not engaged. And it's beat for beat the same story as it was last season. You're saying that you're dating this man. Your friends are coming to you saying, well, I see him at the gym, but he's not working out. He's hanging out with the ladies at the gym. He's going on dates with the ladies at the gym. Like, is giving humiliation kink, and I don't need to be a part of it. I don't need to be a part of it. So I'm happy that Mary is whacking this poor girl, but I think that like it would just be better if she wasn't getting whacked. Like it just would be. Bronwyn was fun to see, okay. I actually who I need to whack is fucking Whitney. Whitney Rose thinking it was gonna be a fun time one of those were really sad strippers. Let's be very honest here. Mary Cosby was right. They had no rhythm, they had no groove, they didn't look like strippers. I mean, we're in Utah, but still, like, there has to be somebody better in all of Utah than if that is the state of male strippers in Utah. I feel sorry for bachelorette parties everywhere. But that aside, the idea that you would do that is crazy to me. Crazy to me to be like, oh, let me call in some last minute strippers to this RV. To this RV. To this RV in the same location where 2 seasons ago, well, I guess 4 seasons ago now, the police legitimately raided our van. That was crazy to me. I wasn't even there. I watched it after the fact, and I was having PTSD. I was like, this is crazy. What do you mean? What do you mean the police are here to arrest somebody? And then for it to be these raggedy strippers wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth the bit. She's broke. Okay. She was just saying that she lost everything. And she had to fire all those people. They have no money. They don't know what they're going to do. You had money to buy strippers. You had money to make it rain on these budget strippers. Optics, Miss Whitney Rose. And I was really sad because when the scene opened, I was really feeling her new hair color, her new haircut. I was like, wow, this is a really fun, youthful vibe for you, Whitney. I'm so happy for you. You don't look like the evil stepmother. And then she did all that was silly. Heather Gay, I don't trust you. Heather Gay speaks out of both sides of her mouth. I think that Heather, a lot of people turned on her early last season when everyone was on Bronwyn's side. And then after the reunion, and even a little before, like the finale and the reunion, people were turning against Bronwyn and being like, okay, Heather, we're going to vindicate you. But I just still don't vibe with Heather anymore. Sorry, girl. I don't vibe with you. And so she was annoying me the entire episode. But, she was doing what Heather does. It's the same energy. It just is what it is at this point. And then my girl Angie. Angie was a fun time. I like Angie. Left at home with nothing. Hashtag frugal. Okay, Miss Busy. Okay. It is 42. We'll do our next sprint at 45. And I'm not gonna say this is gonna be the last one. We'll see how we feel when we come back from that sprint. We'll see how we feel because it'll be what, like 8:30 at that point? 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. So we'll see how we feel then. But yeah, I enjoyed the premiere episode. I couldn't tell if it was extra long or if I had like just hit pause because I was watching it live. I was kind of watching it live. I did give myself a little bit of a delay so I could speed through the commercials, but I couldn't know if it was like extra long or it's like some weird middle. It was weird, like the length portion. But overall, I did enjoy the premiere of Salt Lake City, and I'm actually even looking forward to Potomac. I kind of written off Potomac after season 7, I think it was. But Mia's gone. Mia's gone. I'm happy about Mia being gone. Stacy looks like we're gonna deal with whatever foolishness was happening last season with her and what was his name, Todd or Hank? It wasn't Hank, but that man, the weird actor, allegedly. We're dealing with that. Monique, my girl Monique, is coming back as a friend of the show. I'm excited. This is the thing. No Candace and Monique. Come, what more could I want? Well, now I do think this makes Monique look like I don't say a liar, but it's like when she was doing her little YouTube series about how she was never coming back and the traders couldn't pay her enough, but here you are as a friend of. Clearly, that divorce is hitting a little bit hard. The divorce is hitting hard, and I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not mad about it. The divorce is hitting hard. She lost that public radio job that she had, but I'm eating well because she's coming back to my screen. Her and her and Giselle getting along is kind of crazy. Karen is out of jail. I'm obviously I don't think we're really gonna see her this season, but I feel like she could pop in at the reunion, do a little walkabout at a little something, a little sprinkle, pick up the cameras again. I don't something. But she's out of prison. Obviously, what she did was crime, and she was driving drunk, and you hate to see it. But she has paid her debts to society, and she's back free. So I'm excited for Karen Huger to be amongst the population again. So all in all, like it can't be just Mia being gone. Just Mia being gone is a breath of fresh air in that franchise. So I'm excited for it. So my fall is booked. My fall is booked. I am cautiously waiting to see what they're doing with New Roni. I want to see New Roni back. Obviously, Bronwyn has already said that she's not coming back, which beautiful. Don't need her back. But I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that franchise for their next season because it's been quiet for a minute now. So clearly nothing's happening in 2025, but 2026, I would like to see it. I would like to see it, Andy. But with that said, we are now 45 after the hour. Let me share Miss Pomodoro Kitty. Thank you. I too like New Roni. I didn't watch Old Roni, so at least not as much, but I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy uh her, Bryn. I don't mean Bryn, but I like the rest of the women. I even liked the new lady they brought in for the second season. It was just a good time. So I'm hoping that they don't completely rework it and it just like goes away in favor of Next Gen NYC because I think Next Gen NYC is a little bit of a mess. I had to stop watching, but we'll see. We'll be back in 45 minutes, so I'll see you then. Welcome back, besties. I think that is going to be our final sprint of the night because as I was listening this time, I started yawning. So there's definitely no way I'm going to be reading this. I'm not going to be reading this with my eyeballs because my eyeballs want to go to bed. But I did get about 200 pages into this. I should have been following along so I could put my bookmark at the correct spot. So I'd have a. It might be close to 300 pages. Love that for me. Um, he's still investigating. I do think that Michael Connelly's first books in a series are not his best books because even The Lincoln Lawyer was not necessarily the best book that I read as part of that series. Although in retrospect, it could have been, should have been, given where we went and how I wound up feeling by the end of it. But I do think that the storytelling is still there. I'm still interested in how this body got there. And I will say that this is probably a little bit more introspective than the Mickey Haller books, as Hieronymus is dealing with his own. I want to say like I don't want to say it's like lingering PTSD, but it might as well be. Like it's in that realm, that area that he is just not really. He's both addressing it, but also just like not fully. Like it's it's not all the way there. But like I said, I made a decent chunk. And tomorrow I'll be at the job that I can listen to an audiobook. And so even though it's not necessarily guaranteed, in fact, it's probably not guaranteed at all. I'm gonna listen to this. I do have the option, which is nice to have. So love that for me. Love that for you guys. Hopefully you were able to get progress in the books that you guys were reading. I'll probably wrap this up here at the quarter till marks. We got about 12 minutes for you guys to tell me how you guys did. Any other final things? I do want to say that I'm going to be coming back to live sprinting with any kind of regularity because I've started at least 3 videos that I thought were going to be vlogs that have just gone nowhere. And so I'm not promising myself anything anymore. It's definitely a possibility though. It's a lot easier despite the many technical difficulties that I faced over the course of these 3 little sprints. Um, the idea of going live is a bit easier than the idea of a vlog, but we'll see. We will see. No promises. No, I don't. No promises. One way or the other. I can't promise it'll never happen. If it does happen, I like to think that it'll be a little bit sooner than 3 years from now. But will we even have internet in 3 years? Who knows? Not I. Not I. I still am behind on a couple of things in terms of television watching because I'm probably gonna do that until after college tonight. My clothes are still in the dryer, so I'll have to put those away. Might, like I said, watch some TV while that happens because I've read 200 some odd pages of my little Michael Connelly novel. So looking forward to reading the ensuing stories because at some point this man has to get married and have a daughter and go to Hong Kong. How we're gonna go from Los Angeles to Hong Kong, your guess is as good as mine. This man is a beat detective. How we going from the streets of America to Hong Kong? Really looking forward to that. And then at some point he does get like a more permanent partner. Looking forward to that. And like I said, because I read the Mickey Holler books, I know this man retires. So I'm interested to see how that's going. And then I also know that there are some Hieronymus books that have to feature Mickey Holler just based on the information that I received reading the Mickey Holler books. Like they were talking about things that I had not read that have to exist somewhere. So for the next foreseeable future, we'll see how this goes. I think I said at the very beginning, there I want to say somewhere around like 30 Hieronymus Bosch books. Crazy. And so in theory that should take me through the end of the year. We'll see. Um, I did marathon the Mickey Holler books, but before then, the last time I marathoned something had to be all the way back. was that last year? Was that 2 years ago now that I read the Finley Donovan books? It was a minute ago. That was a public facing video because I remember posting it. I remember making that video. Um, it was that video, and then right after that, I think I did my Jay Bree video. I'm still waiting on that 3rd book. I don't think we're getting a 3rd book from her ever, to be honest with you. But I'm still waiting on it. I would like to would I like to read it? No. No. But there was just so much um mess around that release that like I will be curious. I will definitely be curious. But she doesn't seem to be in any rush to actually give her fans that book. And she wasn't really in a rush to give fans the sequel to that book. She was in a rush to fix the problems though. To fix the typos and things. Although these days you might not have to do that. I understand that there's the Audra Winter lady person. She had a typo riddled book. I do think that some people were a little unserious in that situation. I do think it's a little unserious to pre-order a book from an indie author you ain't never heard and never read and got no kind of snippet, no kind of information from them, just TikTok marketing, and you were like, oh, let me go to TikTok shop and pre-order this book. I think that some of y'all who was on the internet demanding your money back for that situation, that was a 100% buyer beware. This is clearly a scam situation. Now I believe that they are peddling some kind of Patreon access, and you can see them live editing the book and get in real time edits and updates on the process. It's just giving grifter. But I'm not sucked up in that because I don't really read fantasy like that these days. Um, I think was the last fantasy book I read that I mean, like true fantasy book was that Mark Lawrence? Maybe because the Stacey Willingham not fantasy. Also, I did lie to you guys. If you go back on my channel, I want to say 2 years ago, I read the title of the video was "I'm done" with the Dr. Professor Ashley Winstead. That was a lie. I definitely read their latest release, that controversial book. The book, this book will end me, where the reviewers were saying that she had plagiarized the Idaho murders and it was unethical or something. Don't come to Monty for your breaking news about a book that came out at the beginning of the year. But I did read that. I did get the arc. I think it a read now that I asked source books. I don't remember how I came into possession, but I did come into possession of that arc. And I did not read it before it came out, but I think I got the audio from Hoopla, maybe. And it was by far and away their best book. I believe that they in the acknowledgments talked about they were grieving their father and they were consuming a lot of true crime content at that time. And so a lot of them went into writing that book. And whatever magical, mystical ingredients went into the production process for this book will end me. Not only is it Ashley Winstead's best book, I would probably go on a limb and say that it's one of the best books that Source Books puts out because I'm of the opinion that Source Books and their many imprints, Nightfire, Casablanca, their other messes, is a slot factory. It's like the traditionally published Kindle Unlimited mess. And so it really is a real travesty that a Dr. Professor is publishing with them with any kind of regularity. But so not only is it Ashley's best work, it's also Source Books' best work. And if it's not their best work, it's easily top 10 for Source Books. And it's not even in the second half of it's easily top 5, top 3 kind of a situation. But that is coming from someone who typically refuses to read that in print. Like if I see that a book is coming out from Source Books, I really don't want to read it just because I have been burned far more times than I have been given anything that's. It's not even the books are bad; the books are unreadable at that imprint. Like it's the books don't be worth the money of the paper that is printed on at that imprint. So for me to say that Those Book Will End Me is a good book, like this, I know we talked about earlier in the sprints about new releases and people being burned and reading slumps. I think that was a good, slump, kind of a breaker book. It's also in that, I don't wanna call it a thriller, but there is sort of a mystery and there's a suspense element to it because, people are dying. It's true crime adjacent kind of a work. And like I said, it's easily Ashley Winstead's best work. It's not even just the mystery and the thrillery and the suspense moments, but even just the sort of character analytics and deep diving into the mind of the character that we're following in that book and her dealing with what she's dealing with and all. It's a good time. It's a good time. Also, you could argue there's like a found family component to the story. Another girlies love a found family moment. I think that's also really present, and it speaks to the power of online communities and things, and not only the power of them, but even the way that they can. I don't want to say they can lead you astray, but even um, I don't want to call it like lead you astray or like the dangers of it, but it's a good time. Good shout out to Dr. Professor Ashley Winsett for that one. She finally did something good after what, 5 books? Because there's the Knife book, the Housewife book, the Twilight fan fiction slash thesis, and then the 2 romances. So yeah, 5 books out. That was number 6. She finally hit it out the park, at least in my eyes. So that was a good time. Anything else I have to say about books I've read that I haven't talked about yet? We talked about Silver Elite. We talked about the Sparrow book. I've not finished. I did read Deep End by the Dr. Professor Ali Hazelwood. It was fine. The girlies were acting as though that was the smuttiest thing that Ali Hazelwood has ever written. And maybe it is, but the way that the internet was talking about it made me think it was going to be doing a lot more than what it was. So maybe my expectations were just too set in what I thought I was going to be getting into. But that was a fine read. I've not finished Problematic Summer Vacation, but I probably will by the end of the year because I got to be caught up. Although she's doing a lot now. It used to be really easy for me to catch up with the Allie Hazelwood of it all, but now she has Problematic Summer that I still have to finish. She has that Kickstarter project that I'm not backing, and I probably won't. I don't want to say I probably won't read, but it's like I don't want to back the Kickstarter because I don't want to own I don't want to own it. Like I don't. She has the Kickstarter project. She has the another Amazon original story, the last Amazon original collection, the Christmassy ones. Those were bad. Like they were so bad. I don't want to read these ones, but I'm probably gonna have to read that one. And then she has the sequel to Bride, and I thought Bride was one of her better works. Before, yeah, because it's easily in the top 3. It'd be Check and Mate and then Bride, easily in the top 3. And then last year she surprise dropped that Spotify book. And I guess maybe this year that's being taken by I guess Mate was kind of a surprise drop in the Amazon stories was kind of a surprise drop, but there's some Allie Hazelwood left to come. And so hopefully before the end of the year I'm caught up with her, but who knows? Because me and the books, I don't say me and the books are fighting these days, is that me and the books are not centered in my life these days. um Movies are coming first, television is coming first. I was trying to do like a music listening challenge where I was, exploring new music. The music has not been explored, to be honest, but I'm trying. So books are just kind of in the mix of all the things in my life at the moment, so they're not at the forefront, but I'm gonna try and get there. But for now, it is 45 after. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will see you at some point. If you're a patron, I'll see you soon because I have finished the book you guys voted on. I just gotta finish editing that video. If you're not a patron and you're here for the public sprints, hopefully I'll be back with one of those next week. Maybe on a Wednesday, maybe not on a Wednesday. But enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe out there. Stay hydrated. And until next time.